Fucking the UVTV, motherfucker. I'm gonna kick spiritual ass and do this for my people. Oh God. Nia niggas for fed me, yeah. And today I'm gonna be talking about Gen Z and the Pluto and Sagittarius creation incubation witchcraft. So just in general, a generation be like every 15 years ago, 15 years or so. And this ain't just Gen Z, it's just I'm talking about it because I'm Gen Z. So I'm just talking about when it comes to like people who come from my generation. But if you a millennial or Gen Y or even right now with Gen Alpha and stuff like that, right? They're doing the same thing. It's just different time periods. So all the way down to Gen X, my mama and them generation, and even before that, all that just accumulated into by the time I got to like the 1900s from them trying to capitalize on everything to make everything more suited up or you know what I'm saying, like wrapping it up to make it so it's more tight knit when it comes to astrology because y'all can't forget it's still a divination based upon tropical sidereal astrology and stuff like that, but it's a divination in the way of how they can control that divination. They be doing this with tarot cards a lot of time too, but like in general, like y'all have to look at when they start talking about the different planets and stuff as them trying to play out those characteristics. So besides the sun and the moon and your rising, anything above, anything beyond just that, like Mercury, Venus, Mars, you know what I'm saying, like Neptune, Pluto, especially them last ones like Neptune, Pluto, and Uranus and stuff like that. No, it's them playing out those characteristics so they can stay in that government, they can stay in that rulership, so they can keep on controlling how they want to go about it. Not no thing where it's like, oh, it's some planet out there based upon NASA and what they done did when it comes to spaceships and stuff like that. Not something out there. No, it's something of they want you to think like it's something out of this world and stuff like that when it's just them trying to create the world. Basically, they're trying to put y'all in a column. They're trying to put y'all in a divination, and then they can be the divine rulers. You know what I'm saying? Them being the divine rulers is just them making the heaven, them making the atmosphere, them making the world that you're just in. And you can't think outside of their world. So you can't think beyond Mercury, Mars, Venus, Pluto, all that type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like that's really all it is. All it's talking about when it comes to anything beyond just the sun and the moon and rising and it start getting to like all the other planets and stuff like that, especially the outer planets, is just them trying to play out those characteristics during those certain time periods. So you can only think about them based upon English terminology. Because based upon English terminology and them making it a universal language, okay, this is how we're gonna make it universal when it comes to people who are into astrology, and we still have control over that. So, okay, Mercury and stuff like that, right? Okay, we're gonna start fucking with the technology or whatever. Oh, or like any social justices and stuff like that. Okay, when it comes to Venus, that's like romantic movies or romantic comedies. Okay, we're gonna put certain things out when it comes to that time. So people be in that love value appreciation type of mind state. Oh, when it comes to Saturn, oh, this is something we're gonna do to try to fuck with people's reality of how they look at the world and change up their structure or their work structure or whatever and stuff like that. Look at like Jupiter, like, oh, we're gonna try to make people believe in certain faiths or certain religion or certain spiritual practices and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's them looking at it from that worldview. Oh, Uranus. Okay, this is something we're gonna make as a revolutionary because based upon how they took over America and stuff like that, they was calling themselves that the revolutionaries, the Whigs or whatever, to act out some degenerate type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody who start thinking in that rebellious extreme drastic tank, if you have to act out in extremes, that means you're overcompensating for something, so that means you're forcing something. So the minute they start making y'all get forced into some rebellious radical counterculture type of energy and stuff like that, they're just showing that's what they did from them going against whatever was going on when it came to Britain, them going against Britain and England, and then they end up creating Christopher Columbus type of concepts when it comes to colonization and capitalism. And that's all America is based off of in general. You know what I'm saying? You capitalizing off of other people culture. And then from you capitalizing off of other people culture, you was able to make a private enterprise or private equity. When it, you know what I'm saying? Like that's why I always say colonization and capitalism. Capitalism is just the new age version of colonization after they took over, well, physically took over stuff. So, you know what I'm saying? Them trying to gain capital. So it's just them utilizing the will of taking other people's culture because we all got free will. You taking other people's cultures, right? And then you was able to capitalize off of that and then you was able to make a private equity, private enterprise of what you did to capitalize off of that, and then you sell that back to the same people you just capitalize off of, and then that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's when it comes to the minute you get into the American industry, when it comes to anything, it's just patriotism. It's just nationalism. Oh, how can we do that to take over a nation? And it leads to something like colonization or something like that. We're going to take where someone else already done settled and utilize what they look at as their gods and their deities and their culture and stuff like that, and we're going to capitalize off of it. We're going to take their culture based upon their genuine beliefs or their genuine actualities of how they want to live their life and pluck from it and then sell it back to them after we just pluck from it. So it's them basically literally it's literally just that. I mean, they did that when it said, oh fuck, I can't even talk. They did that with themselves when it comes to Europeans. If you want to get to the European, like the starting point of that, like I'm not even saying anything that's bad or anything that we don't already know. They say this in the history books. They went against, or they wanted to live somewhere else because they didn't like how Europe was going and stuff like that. So that's what it led to them trying to discover the new world. But it wasn't a new world. It's just new to y'all. So they went from the old world, Eurasia, and they went to the new world, Native Americans and the Americans and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like North and South America and all that type of stuff. Like, that's all that was. So just in general, from them going against their own people, right, and separating from them, they settled somewhere else and try to appeal to people who wasn't a people either, and just took other people's culture and they made that a culture to justify colonization or like capitalism or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the simplest way to put that. So they just Americanized it by inducting patriotism, by inducting nationalism. Oh, let's just take over their nation, even though they already got a nation, they already got a system, they already got a spirituality, they already got their own practices, they already got their own thing. But like, let's take that over and westernize it. You know what I'm saying? Westernize it. Let's make the American industry and stuff like that. Let's make some type of capital to make it so when it comes to our family, our lineage, to where we can be straight based upon the sacrifices we done made based upon the American Revolution, all that type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really all that is. So it's just capitalizing off of what real genuine people are doing and their actual culture or their actual spirituality or their actual practices. And then you capitalize off of taking other people's cultures that's not your culture, and then you sell it back to them like you made that up, even though you ain't the one who made it up. You're trying to cosplay what genuine people already done did, like the common person already done made, to make it so they can have their little society running and stuff like that. You pluck from them and you be the main vocal point from you capitalizing off of it. So it's like you trying to play God. It's like you trying to be in an ego and stuff like that so you can stir the pot. But they don't like it when you start to go against that. Look at that as you just want to stir your own pot and mind your business. Not no counterculture like, oh, you're trying to go against American culture. No, you're just trying to go against monoculture. That's the simplest way I could put that. It's like you going against monoculture so you can have your little microculture. But it's not a thing where you're trying to hate everybody or you trying to get back what they done did to y'all and stuff like that, even though they already done. We see that in history of different ways of people of how they want to do that. They were just like, all right, if that's how y'all feel, okay, cool. Y'all can do that. Just leave us alone. So that's when it turned into we're just going to mind our business and be productive doing what we doing and stuff like that. And we know we in this Americanized society and stuff like that, but we ain't going to get on y'all way. We'll hold up to whatever y'all law system or whatever thing y'all done made up in whatever. Just don't get in the way of what we trying to do in our little kinship, our little village or whatever, our little, you know what I'm saying? Like, where we at? Just don't bother us. That's when it led to stuff like reservations and stuff like that. But it's really just finding new ways to watch what they do and all that type of stuff. That's really a whole different thing. And then I ain't even in the scenario to speak on that because I'm not Native American and stuff like that. I'm really a foreigner if you want to be real, but I'm aware though. You know what I'm saying? I'm just aware, but I know how to have discernment when it comes to shit. And then that's just me giving out my sentiment. That's just me giving out, you know what I'm saying? My experiences, my sentiment of my outlook when it comes to that. So it ain't me trying to have like a dog in a fight and stuff like that. I'm really just having that spiritual discernment to where, oh, okay, this is this, oh, this led to this and stuff like that. And I ain't trying to get all in between, but I do understand it though. I understand the blueprint, the mechanism, how it led the whole process and stuff like that. So that's literally what I'm just giving y'all based upon what I'm observing, how I look at it, and then making it universal, like, oh, okay, on all levels, regardless if you included in that, regardless if your race or not isn't included in that, regardless if you grew up in that or not, you know what I mean though. You know what I'm saying? You know what the fuck I'm talking about overall though. And then, yeah. But back on topic, right? When it comes to the different generations, like Gen Z, Gen Alpha, Gen X, and stuff like that, right? There is just them generating their creations, right? So based upon that specific age group and time period and stuff like that, right? They're spotlighting that specific cycle or mechanism, right? So it's like them putting you in a world, and then people who was born during that generation, during that creation cycle and stuff like that, it's just that specific world, that specific mechanism they was practicing during that time and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So based upon what the government was doing during that time, and that was that, you know what I'm saying? All that be like, it'd be mandated, it'd be premeditated. Like they already planned that. That's why I said during the 1900s when things got more sold up and stuff like that, that's when it was like, okay, they're planning in advance, and they're like, all right, for these 15 years, this is our plan. This is the thing we're gonna push. This is the thing we're gonna put people in different programs, and for motherfuckers to not get spooked out and stuff like that. Okay, y'all watch TV, right? So it's based upon the ads, the programs, the commercials and stuff like that. What y'all watch on TV and stuff like that. So it's kind of like them programming you to look at it in that type of way. So that's the thing from them selling something to you. That's how you end up buying the name brand when you go to Walmart instead of just going to your local farmer market or someone you know who already make that you know what I'm saying? Like organically. You know what I'm saying? Like they got their own business. They do it more organically compared to you going to Walmart and then it being industrialized and it being capitalized on, they're going to have the resources and that different trading system and stuff like that based upon different warehouses. And they're going to add a whole bunch of different additives and processed foods and GMO and stuff like that instead of you going out on a farm or you going to the farmer's market to get the more organic type of shit. You get what I'm saying? It's like that. Okay, well, we have to perform some type of capital for the sake of economics and stuff like that so motherfuckers can capitalize off of it so they can keep on feeding their families, and it's to uphold certain lineages and stuff like that that leads to history when it comes to how they even took over this country in the first place. Well, physically taking over. They ain't spiritually take over shit, but like physically take over and stuff like that based upon them setting up all these different systems and things getting westernized, Americanized, and then from it being Americanized and westernized, it got commercialized, and then it leads to, you know what I'm saying, stuff like TV commercials that we have today, to make it really simple. So it's just that Pacific cycle mechanism world they created. I mean, yeah, that they created, that they was in control over at that time. So when it comes to Gen Z, because I'm only going to talk about Gen Z, but you can apply this to all the other generations. At that time period, that's the thing that was already pre-planned, because all of his mandate is pre-planned of what they're going to admit when it comes to business, politics, education, entertainment, religion, culture. You know what I'm saying? Like in general, that's the mind frame, the mentality. That's the world we're going to put them in during that 15-year period. And then the next generation, we're going to put them in this type of mind frame for that period and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's basically just what the shadow government is doing or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like they already pre-planning that already. They put like a manuscript of like, okay, we're going to put out these sentiments during this time that's going to add on to the plan to make it so we can still stay in that rulership and stuff like that. So, yeah, because the government is just a governing mentality. That's just how they want to rule during that time, and then that's it. So, when it comes to Pluto, right? When it comes to, because now I'm going to get into the astrology, because I already broke down when it comes to, like, I broke down the Gen Z and how it applies to all the different generations, and you can't look at the planets like, oh, some planet out there and stuff. It's like them trying to control that worldview based upon Mercury through Pluto and stuff like that. It's just them controlling worldviews for different pockets of time and stuff like that. Look at that as like, okay, Mars is Aries and Scorpio because it's the ruler of Aries and Scorpio. And if it's a planet, it's a celestial body. So it's like a wandering star, right? But we're the stars. Like we're the walking representations. Not no thing where, oh, you have to look in the telescope and look at the stars outside and stuff like that. No, we are that. It's really them plagiarizing a whole bunch of different Native American shit to make it look like some out of, you know what I'm saying, like this out of this world type of shit, when we the one who out of this world, and we trying to make, you know what I'm saying, we're the one who trying to take things that are out of this world so it can be a part of the world. Not like, oh, we're trying to find something outside the world that we don't already understand. No, we already internally understand that. We're trying to make something that's unseen and then make it be seen. We're taking something that's below the horizon and then making it above the horizon. We're taking something that based upon what we didn't learn from the past so we can have a better future. But we only going to understand that by being present from what's presently going on based upon what you already done did and who you are. So we're trying to conflate the past and the future and make it a part of the here and now. So it's like the things you already done experience, which can help you presently, and then things that you want to be, but you can't be that without being it itself now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really all it is. The minute you get too lost into the past, you get too stuck in a comfort zone based upon like some nostalgia type of thinking. And then if you get too caught up in the future, it's like you trying to reach a goal, but it's always going to be out of your reach because you ain't that now. You know what I'm saying? Like that's really all it is. Like it's about the journey, not about the destination, even though eventually you're going to reach to that destination, but you going to love the experiences that you basically learn from going through it in general and stuff like that, and not getting lost into that validation, expectation, anticipation type of energy. So just in general, when it comes to Pluto, it's just the feminine side of Mars. So holding on to gaining power and control over something through change, death, transformation, or deep abundance and wealth. And that's all that is. And it leads to things like plutocracy and being a ruler of the underworld. So which y'all be calling Hades and stuff like that, even though they be playing off that shit too when it comes to stuff like Hades and stuff like that. So y'all the video cut out, but y'all gonna look at that as being the ruler of the underworld, not no thing where it's like some ancient mythology type of thing because of this, that, and the third. Even though you could look at it like that is something that happens in reality, but not no thing that happened actually in history. No, it's just us trying to understand the world by trying to gain more awareness about the world and how it relates to what we already doing. So the same way how y'all look at like the body. So like the nether regions and stuff like that, right? Okay, if it's the nether regions, it's just anything that's below the horizon. So like that's like, if this was astrology, that's like the 7th through the 12th house. Okay, the 7th through the 12th house deals with, you know what I'm saying? It's more the below the horizon. So that's more dealing with your midriff all the way down to your feet. If this is like medical astrology or whatever, right? So the nether region. So it's about your lower natures. Okay, the same way how men have a dick and then women have a pussy and stuff like that. Okay, it's dealing with something more of the lower natures, the root chakra or whatever. If I wanted to make that like super simple for spiritual motherfuckers and stuff like that. So it's like you acting on your lower desires. So we like to fuck, and it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like you catering towards things that appeal to the physical. You know what I'm saying? Things that physically please you compared to your higher chakras or anything that's more above the horizon. So something that pleases your mind or something that pleases like your spirit and stuff like that. Even though you're just a spirit in a body, but you get what I'm trying to say. Like something that pleases your higher natures, your mentality, your mind. You know what I'm saying? Food for thought compared to something that deals with your lower natures. You know what I'm saying? The physical, the flesh, things that feel good. And that leads to stuff like how the dick and pussy area even got created in the first place. It's based upon this energy. And we know Pluto deals with Scorpio, and Scorpio is just fixed water. So being fixated in your own way when it comes to dealing with the emotions and feelings. And then water is transparent and it's fluid and it's you know what I'm saying? It's absorb it. So it's you soaking into an emotion and feeling, and then it's a mechanism. So it's like a fire, water, air, earth. You have fire, and then once you soak into the fire or soak into a vision or get absorbed into a way of seeing and feeling, right? After you soak into it, now you're starting to receive it. You know what I'm saying? You're receiving something, you're soaking into something, and then both fire and water is something more internal compared to something being more external. So from it being like a yin sign, right? It's about receiving things in the internal realm. So it's just internalizing what you already receiving already in the internal realm already. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you soaking into a certain imagination. So you just like that emotion and feeling. You like how that felt compared to if it's a fire sign, it's taking things from the internal realm and you externalizing. So it's like you making it more masculine, you expressing it, you expanding on it. You know what I'm saying? So you're trying to burn through reality. You're trying to let that vision be seen. Water sign don't care about that. They care about it being received. Like they just want to feel good about it. And then it started to go into the different modalities. So cardinal, fixed, immutable. And I'll be Cancer, Scorpio, then Pisces. But I'm just talking about Scorpio right now. Right? So that's what Scorpios like to do. They like to be fixated on that though. So from it being fixated is going to lead to things like stubbornness or consistency. That's the more positive way of how to go about it. They're consistent in being fixated in that one feeling and emotion. You know what I'm saying? So they like to soak into the depths and go, you know what I'm saying? Make things deep, make things like real, like, you know what I'm saying? They like to submerge into that emotion and feeling. So the minute you try to make them be above water, or they try to, you know what I'm saying, you try to make them be more seen when it comes to that, they start stinging your ass and stuff like that. Like, yeah. So it's kind of like any cardinal sign, really. But Aries, cardinal fire signs, they can be fixed and mutable. Like, all cardinal signs have that ability. It's kind of like they understand both. So sometimes they can be fixed. They're only fixed on their way of thinking, but they also understand. They also understand. I have to put myself in a mutable position, or I have to be adaptable, flexible, changeable to other people's ways of how to go about it too. But that's the thing that makes them a good leader, because they have their own way of going about it, but they also having other people into consideration. That's the thing that makes them cardinal. You know what I'm saying? Of initiating something new. So in general, right? So that's the thing that can lead them to be the walking example of how to actually lead or actually go for the thing itself. So overall, the difference between the different modalities, you can see that. So when it comes to Sagittariuses, they be trying to adapt. They be trying to add on to shit. They try to switch up. But that's the thing that leads to all mutable signs, where they be switching up too much. That's why when it comes to Gemini, they be like, oh, the twins, the two side, all that type stuff. It depends on what side of the bed they woke up on that day and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because they switch up. Because they always changing, adapting with their own other people's ways of thinking. So they're always going to switch up the more the information they get about something. And they're like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to switch on how I'm going to go about that. Oh, if I have a new vision, oh, I got to switch up now. I got to, you know what I'm saying? Like that's how they think. But that's how they make it more balanced. They have to know when to do it. So you always going to be trying to make things relative to your own other people's ways of thinking. But sometimes you have to know when to be cardinal, and then sometimes you have to know when to be fixed. And then that's it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to learn how to lead and be the example. But sometimes you have to learn, stop giving a fuck about how other people think in general, and just be fixed and be stubborn and just be in your own world, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? So you can have your own way of expressing Leo type of energy. So you can get attention for your way of expressing it, and then that's it. You know what I'm saying? Instead of giving a fuck about how other people think about it all the time. Because Sagittarius they get lost into divinations a lot. You know what I'm saying? They get lost into other people's creations based upon they see, oh, okay, other people into that. So it's like, oh yeah, this must work. So let me be a part of this community, and all these people are into the same thing I'm into. Knowledge and wisdom, morality, higher means and reasonings, belief systems. Even if they like an atheist and stuff like that, they still into those conversations though. Even though they're atheists, they still want to see other people's outlooks when it comes to them being an atheist in the spectrum of them not being an atheist, because they're a mutable sign. They're more open-minded. So even if you don't agree with their outlook of how they look at it, they still want to hear your outlook of how you look at it, so they can be open-minded and be like, oh, okay, I can understand someone else's experiences, even though I'm not that in general. But that's what leads to things like long lines hippie. You get lost into other people's creations and other people's divinations, instead of you acting out a divine nature. You being a celestial body. You being a heavenly state of being. You being the walking representation of all possibilities. Not you trying to be God like a deity, or like idol worship, and you want motherfuckers to look at you like you God and stuff like that. No, you able to be a part of existence in the universe. So you just making your own world that other people can be a part of, but you don't give a fuck if they in it or not. But they're able to be in your space, and they can be out your space. But it's just you making your own world just in general. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like you being a walking celestial body in general, you being a star or whatever. So all these different things when it comes to astrology, okay, they're different star signs and stuff like that. So that's the different, it's just the different alignments, the different angles, the different representations of how to act during that time period and stuff like that. So the sun being in Cancer and the moon being in Sagittarius and stuff like that. Okay, the sun being the things that's actually seen, the actual action, the actual representation of how that word's gonna be seen, and the moon being the reflection, the emotion and feeling, the, you know what I'm saying, how it is to be in that world. So it's not necessarily what's being seen, it's the thing that's being reflected. It's the thing that's based upon the motherly type of energy. The sun will be like the fatherly type of energy. So the thing that's being provided, and then the moon, the mother moon, Selene or whatever, right? It being the supporter of what's already being seen, or what's already being built, or what's already being created, what's already being provided. You get it? So it's basically like that. And that being the star sign of that, you know what I'm saying, that heavenly body, that celestial body and stuff like that. Okay, when it comes to that world, from it being seen in those different angles and alignments and stuff like that, that's when it leads to things like astrology. But y'all have to understand, it's a astrology astronomy, anatomy thing. Oh, these are different things, different pockets of what we're supposed to act out based upon the overall mechanism of what the sun is moon, of what the sun and moon. I can't even talk. Of what the sun and moon is doing, based upon the seasonal transitions, spring, summer, fall, winter, and then that's really it. And then we have all these different things on a micro scale. You acting out internal spring, summer, fall, winter, and that's really it. Now, after breaking all that down based upon the astrology, right? Okay, we're the Pluto and Sagittarius type of energy. So those are the things we hold on to. Those are our things we feel we have power and control over. Those are the things we like to have deep abundance and wealth towards. And these are the things that we're constantly transforming. The things we're constantly changing. A whole bunch of Sagittarius type of shit. We're always changing our belief systems. We always trying to be the daredevils. We always trying to have a whole bunch of different experiences and stuff like that. We always trying to have some type of new type of higher learning or education. You know what I'm saying? We all trying to have more knowledge and wisdom about stuff. That's why they say shit like we're the most diverse generation because of, like the internet and stuff like that. But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Like I was saying before, a lot of these things are premeditated and pre-planned and stuff like that. They plan it out to be like that. Okay, what are the things when it comes to Gen Z during this time period? When it's not this time period, but during that time period from like 1997 to like 2012 of what was going on, the Y2K era. So like the late 90s and then going into the early 2010s and stuff like that. But mainly like the 2000s. You know what I'm saying? I was born in 2002. So like Gen Z is just seen as people who are confident users of new technology and is the formative years. Keyword formative. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's something they formulated during that time period. Oh, this is what we're going to do during this time period to make sure they stay in this Pluto and Sag type of energy and stuff like that. But it's really us acting out plutocracy energies. What's a plutocracy? A plutocracy is just the government controlled by the wealthy. So whatever the, you know what I'm saying? Whatever the aristocrats, whatever the elites, whatever the motherfuckers who in the control of the government and the shadow government or whatever and stuff like that, this is how they was thinking. So they could be like, oh, okay, this is the mind frame. This is the magic square. This is the box. This is the program we're going to put them in during this time period. For any kid born during this time, Gen Z and stuff like that, we're going to put them in this type of mind frame. These are the things we're going to be pushing out during this time frame in Pacific. All the way down to the fucking cartoons we got into growing up and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like the different foods or the different things we had during that time and shit like that. Right? Yeah, people who are seen as confident users of new technology, the formative years shaped in a world of smartphones, social media, instant communication. We're the first generation to grow up complete with the internet and adapting new technology that, you know what I'm saying, based upon what Steve Jobs did and all that type of stuff. But just in general, right? Being online and stuff like that compared to like millennials and stuff like that. There was a time when like they still had the internet and stuff like that, but it's not like a thing where at least how I grew up in school, right? All the way up to now where by the time I got to middle school, oh, I need to have a laptop. Oh, this computer class is beyond just computer class. I have to bring a computer home and it's mandated by the state and all that type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like to add more higher education, learning, all that type stuff. You know what I'm saying? So before that, in elementary school, because I remember the transition, we just had computer class. And you only got that in computer class. And then we had shit like cool math games, all that type stuff, man. Good time, but good time. But like in general, right, it turned into, okay, this is something where this is like an everyday life type of thing. Like, oh no, it's not just you may or may not have a family computer. You may or may not have technology at home and stuff like that. No, we're going to provide it for you even if you don't got it like that. So yeah, everyone got their own laptops and computers and stuff like that. And the easy access of instant communication, not no Blackberries and stuff like that, Motorola's. People who had phones during the during the 2000s and the early 2010s and stuff like that, those type of phones, no, it led to smartphones and stuff like that. And like wireless TVs and flat screens and stuff like that. When flat screens was like a big thing. And then before we had flat screens, we had like them big ass TVs that would sit on the floor, all that type of stuff. Like motherfuckers know what the fuck I'm talking about. Like, and then everyone had motors and routers, and Wi-Fi, and then it started to turn the smart TVs and like Roku and stuff like that, bro. I remember the transition with all this type of stuff before they even had shit like Amazon Prime Smart Stick and all that type of stuff. Like I remember the transition before we had that And then when we actually got it and stuff like that, and then when Netflix was like the main big thing, and then the whole Netflix is chill type of thing, and then we got stuff like Hulu after that, and then Hulu started having anime, and it led to stuff like Crunchyroll from being like a niche anime site into them capitalizing off of that too, and Funimation Studios, like. So in general, that is their comfort zone, but that's why the moon don't like being in Scorpio, because it's like their comfort zone is always being uncomfortable in general. You know what I'm saying? Because the Taurus is exalted. I mean, the moon is exalted in Taurus. So from the moon being exalted in Taurus, it's like you holding onto a comfort zone all the way down to it being shown externally. Scorpios, they don't like to do that. They like, it's like, let's say like you're like a moon and Scorpio and stuff like that. Your comfort zone is transforming, is changing. You find something else to hold on to. You find something else to soak into or absorb, like a sponge and stuff like that. You find something else to receive. You like being fixated on that. And then it's going to be something below the horizon. So it's going to be something that's unseen or unfamiliar, or something that you're in the dark about. That's why it leads to things like eighth house type of energies and stuff like that. So you being in the dark, or something that's like taboo, or something like everything I just said. So anything dealing with the behind closed doors type of realm and stuff like that, like something that's really distant from you that you don't already know, that isn't in your personal circumference or comfort zone already and stuff like that. You're more interested into that. So you're willing to go the distance to understand that, because at the same time, it's a fall, autumn type sign. So it's something that's built up to its fullest maturity, but it starts to become more decaying and deteriorating, just like the leaves in general. So it's something that's going to be its peak of maturity based upon what you know what I'm saying, what happened during Taurus, because the whole thing is a mechanism, like spring, summer, fall, winter. And then the opposite of Scorpio is Taurus, and that's springtime, and that's when you germinate a seed. So when it started to get into fall time, that's when that seed fully sprouted and grown to its full maturity and stuff like that. And then now you're able to pluck from that fruit. But that's also when that tree or that idea is start to run its course. So it's like a monetary gain. It's temporary. That high hanging fruit now starting to produce low hanging fruit. You know what I'm saying? It already became its full maturity, and you got to the destination, so to speak. But now it's starting to run its course. It's starting to get outdated and old, and now you got to find something else. But Scorpio's like to hold on to what's already dying. It's like beating a dead horse type of energy. But then once they start to get around a Taurus and understand the opposite, it's a balance. Like, no, some of that shit, you have to let that shit go so you can find more fruit to bear and plant better seeds and stuff like that, so you can find something else to value, not trying to value something that's really devaluing I can't even say the word. You're valuing something that's already dying. It's already being devalued and stuff like that. So why are you giving a fuck about that piece of shit? You know what I'm saying? All the way down to them having piece of shit type of relationships. Why are you giving this motherfucker who don't treat you good and stuff like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's only because of that. You know what I'm saying? It's the opposite of Taurus, that comfort zone of what they already experienced and how they make them feel. And if they're a Scorpio who used to being treated like shit, they'll just stay in it, even though they know it's not good for them, because it's like being uncomfortable is their comfort zone. So it's like they're going to stay within it. And then maybe you try to take them out of it. They try to be in that moral justice war, similar to Sagittarius, and that's the sign after that, of justifying why they should do that, because that's all they know, and until they get into a scenario where they actually go through that actual change and transformation and have to learn how to get their lower natures and stuff like that. That's why they the god of the underworld. You like being under something instead of being over something. So instead of you being over the situation, you like being submerged up under and all that type stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's really that. I'm exposing the fuck out of Scorpios. Hey, I fuck with y'all though. I'm Triple Earth. I'm a Taurus, Sun, and Moon. I fuck with y'all, but I be seeing that though. Like I understand how y'all feel, but y'all never have no security and stability. That be the problem. So once you learn how to actually make things up surface level, and you actually, you know what I'm saying, like try to deal with your issues a little bit better, that's how you make yourself be more balanced as a Scorpio. And that's when they actually learn how to transform at their situation and stuff like that. And that's your whole thing. And that's when it leads to things like what I was saying before, deep abundance and wealth, because of you holding on to something long enough until it was able to grow and become fully mature and stuff like that. And that's that, you know what I'm saying? That's why it's the opposite of Taurus and stuff like that. It's like when you actually hold on to something long enough and it actually comes out in reality and stuff like that spring, summer, fall, winter concept and stuff like that. So based upon that overall mechanism, that's the micro mechanism of what that is. Oh, it actually plays out in reality, where that thing that was just a seed, that thing that was a small thing that you did, it actually blew up and became something that was actually significant to where you can make money off of it from you holding on to that emotion and feeling. You get it? It's like a mechanism and stuff like that. So in general, yeah, Pluto and Sagittarius. So during that time period, when it comes to Gen Z and stuff like that for those 15 years, that's the stuff they want us to absorb. That's the thing they want us to hold on to and stuff like that. That's the thing they want to have us be abundant in, which is Sagittarius type of shit. Sagittarius is just mutable fire. So being mutable, adaptable, and changeable, flexible, and able to add on to our own and other ways of seeing and feeling when it comes to burn through reality. So fire is like shooting a gun. So when you shoot a gun, you have to fire. You know what I'm saying? You got a firearm and stuff like that. So from you shooting, it's like you attacking. It's like you bombarding. But I'm not trying to say that in a way that's like degenerate and stuff like that, but it's like you attacking something, it's you expressing something, it's you expanding on something. And then look, it's better supported by Jupiter. So all that is about expansion in general. So overall knowledge and wisdom, broad philosophical points of views, higher learning and education, long distance travel. Same thing with the, you know what I'm saying? Same thing with the Scorpio concept. I was saying with autumn, fall time and stuff like that. It's like you going the distance with something, right? And that goes to morality, faith, God, belief systems and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you believing in something long enough to where it actually becomes something that actually helps you in real life. So that's how Sagittarius is be thinking. The problem with Sagittarius is though, they don't understand the opposite quality, thinking, Gemini qualities and stuff like that. They don't know, they don't add logic behind what they're doing. They don't add enough thinking on communication, and then they lack being able to communicate it because they're more enticed by how they see and feel about it. So they don't really give a fuck about the words. They don't really give a fuck about how it looks in reality. They just want to experience it themselves. But that's why some of the Pisces, it's like they don't get it until they experience it themselves, and then they get the nuance. So it don't matter it don't matter how you trying to explain it. Like it don't matter what words you use or how you try to explain it. If you can't do it in a way to where they can't visualize it, if they can't imagine it to where they can see where that goes and stuff like that, they're never gonna, like, bro, it's gonna fall on deaf ears and stuff like that. The minute you try to do like some like book smart type of method, they're never gonna understand it. It's kind of like you have to explain it in a way they can like visualize it. You know what I'm saying? Because again, it's still a yin sign, but it's like they're taking things of the internal realm and they try to expand it. So they try to see it in another way. And it's mutable. So it's their own and other people's ways of how to do it. So they like to act spontaneous as fuck. So they like to light up the room, literally. But it's them caring about how other people feel too. So they're making other people believe in themselves. They like seeing other people having faith in themselves and stuff like that. They like having other people go through different experiences and stuff like that. But the problem is caring about other people too much and you being a long lost hippie. So you went through a whole bunch of different experiences, but you never applied what you know. You never applied any of your experiences. You have a lot of knowledge and awareness, but you're not learning anything. That's actual wisdom. You're not learning from them though. You're just having a whole bunch of different experiences in reality, but you never sat down and actually thought about the starting point, the meaning and reasoning behind why you're doing that in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really that simple. And that's when you understand the Gemini side. You need to add more thinking quality or like logic. You need to add more meaning and reasoning or intent behind what you're paying attention to. And then you end up going for that. So you actually have that visualization. But what are you going to do with that visualization? Are you actually going to ground it in reality? And that's Virgo type of energies. And I understand because it squares y'all. Right. But that's the thing it leads up to. How you going to actually apply that to reality based upon some Virgo type of quality. So being mutable, adaptable, changeable to your own ways of thinking and practicalizing. How you gonna put that into practice? So they can be in that preacher teacher energy all day, but they probably don't even care about anything they practice, and they just like the energy of learning about something or the morality behind something or the faith behind something and the belief system and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like they care more about that than anything else. So it's just them being that preacher teacher type of energy, but they just preaching and teaching. They ain't really practicing what they preach. You know what I'm saying? They ain't really practicing what they preach. It's just them preaching and teaching because they just like being in the energy itself. They like the visuals. They like seeing it. They like seeing and feeling in that energy. They just like to expand upon that, and then that's it. Like, bro, like that's it. Like they just like being in that state of being, but they can't be it itself. Like, because again, it's a mutable sign. So they just doing it because they see, oh, I'm into that, but other people into that. So let me make some relative type of thing to where, oh, people can be a part of what I'm already doing compared to like an Aries or like a Leo. A Leo is more fixed and stubborn. So it's kind of like, yeah, they like attention, but they like getting attention about what they give a fuck about. And in Aries, they can be more selfish if this was more negative or counterproductive. or counterproductive. But from it being a cardinal sign, cardinal signs, they're the initiators. They're trying to push for something. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to push the boundaries type shit. That trailblazer type of energy. So just in general, from them being in the forefront or being the leader or them putting themselves first, that's what happens. But yeah, so us being the most diverse generation to date, we instantly have access to a whole bunch of different information, even though they can mandate that because they like, oh, don't believe everything on the internet that can be controlled and mandated and stuff like that. But yeah, we got Wi-Fi, we got instant communication. We got Wi-Fi, we got instant communication. My shit cut out. My phone about to die for real. But like, yeah, Wi-Fi, instant communication. You know what I'm saying? Like, and placing heavy emphasis on social justice, racial and ethnic equality and stuff like that. So it's kind of like, to make that mad simple, just based upon all those different things, and we have instant access to a whole bunch of all this stuff, right? And leading the energies. Oh, also, we went through a pandemic. Us going through that, man, I'm not going to get into that on a high percentage scale, but us going through a pandemic, so it was universal, it was global and stuff like that, right? I'm not going to get into the coronavirus or any of that stuff, right? It's a pandemic, so it's universal. So it's an outbreak or product of sudden, rapid spread, growth, and development. Now, I know it deals into that coronavirus and stuff like that, but no, that's just them during that time period capitalizing to make y'all ass sit y'all ass inside instead of being outside based upon social distancing. They just want to make y'all sit inside and social distance, so y'all gonna rely more on technology instead of you going outside and stuff like that. So it really was just a side to make y'all not go outside because of this, that, and the third. But that's a whole different thing. And then even if motherfuckers look at me like I'm being conspiracy theory and I'm being pseudo and stuff like that, then why does it lead to them being like, oh, Gen Z don't know how to be social and stuff like that? And then everyone gonna be like, man, everything changed after the pandemic. It's simple shit like that. You know what I'm saying? It's literally simple shit like that. Like, that's why Gen Z, they can't do shit without the phone. You know what I'm saying? Like when our parents be like, man, it's always that damn phone. No, sometimes it really is that. Y'all don't know how to separate real life and being online and the internet and stuff like that. Because a lot of y'all didn't grow up in real life like that. Y'all was more on the internet. Y'all was more on the internet on a higher percentage scale, or look at that as y'all being chronically online or whatever. And y'all know how to be chronically in real life. But you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all know how to have a balance of this is just online. The minute you put your phone down, gang. The minute you put your phone down, it's not that it's in real life. It's a whole bunch of different. It's a whole different response and reaction with motherfuckers in real life. It's not no thing you could try to side for that and stuff like that. It's just motherfuckers in chats. And so they started putting AI motherfuckers or start flooding up people chats. So it makes people, you know what I'm saying? Like, from y'all being agents online and stuff like that, y'all making AI shit or y'all making bots and stuff like that to inflate numbers to make it look like it's more than it is instead of it being genuine reactions. Because before that, it was just genuine people inside people's live streams and people chats and stuff like that. But that's when it started to lead to stuff like people start focusing on streaming and stuff like that, but then it led to them capitalizing off of that, streaming university and different content creators and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They always gonna find a way to capitalize off of something. But in general, it's just capitalism. Like, it's just them capitalizing off of that template just in general. And that whole generation, they're like, oh, okay, we're gonna make this whole generation only focus on Sagittarius type of shit so they can be in this mind state and things of that nature. Now, I'm not trying to say, based upon astrology, that astrological wise, certain things aren't true, because you were still born during that time period, right? Because look, I want y'all to have actual discernment. So it's your natal chart, it's your horoscope. So it's showing your, you know what I'm saying? It's like your sky chart. So if it's your sky chart, it's your atmosphere chart. If that's your atmosphere chart, right? It's the atmosphere. It's just the world at most. So from it being your world at most, that's the alignment during that time period, regardless if it's a divination, it being controlled by the government or not. That's the specific space, time, location you was at and what happened during that time period of when you was born and stuff like that. So you're like a walking energy of what that day was and stuff like that. So I'm being a Taurus and I was born in 2002 and stuff like that in May. So during that Pacific day in May 11th, during that Pacific day and that time and stuff like that, I was born because I'm a Capricorn rising and stuff like that. So I was born between 12 and 2 a.m. and stuff like that. I'm the walking representation of how that day was like during that Pacific time period. So us being Gen Z and stuff like that is not to say, oh, that Pluto and Sag and stuff like that, all those type of things and stuff like that is not to say I'm not really that. for real, but I'm trying to make y'all have discernment so you can tell the difference. You tell the difference of, oh, okay, this is the mandated control part of what the government was doing during that time, from them trying to have power control over that Pluto type of energy and stuff like that, aka that sun pocket, or how y'all look at Scorpio. So that would be like between fucking 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Type shit. So from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. during that time period, right, when it comes to Scorpio, aka Pluto or whatever, that's that celestial body, that's that world. You know what I'm saying? Power, control, transformation, change, death, deep abundance and wealth and stuff like that. When it comes to those different values during that time period for that generation, that's the thing they'll focus on. They'll focus on a whole bunch of different Sag shit. So, well, like, not, well, yeah, like, yeah, I said that right. They was focused on a whole bunch of different Sag shit, and that's the thing that was emitting during that time to make you care about that. It's not to say that generation doesn't care about that, but it make motherfuckers who get lost, who can't tell the difference of, oh, okay, here's one part of it that's incubation. It's witchcraft. That's a witchcraft they played on y'all, of them trying to control different time periods and stuff like that, different generations of what they can and can't be into and stuff like that. But also at the same time, that is your natural energy though. Like, that is what you actually into for real, but that's how they break it down when it comes to different generations for the most part. Damn, my fucking shit cut out. I low-key gotta re-record that shit. But I think the last point was, yeah, us being the most diverse generation today places heavy emphasis on social justice, racial and ethnic equality. So it's kind of like a thing where they're pushing out certain programs where they're trying to make y'all give a fuck about that, all the way down to what happened during the pandemic. So what happened during the pandemic just means like, oh, like a global pandemic. It was universal. And I know y'all focusing on the virus and stuff like that, right? But based upon them utilizing that virus, they was doing this too. So pandemic just means an outbreak or product of sudden rapid spread, growth, and development, not just the virus, just in general. Something, it was like an outbreak. So that's the things that was putting out there when it comes to business, religion, politics, education, culture. You know what I'm saying? Like all that type of stuff, like all the different columns they done set up. Like those are the things that was putting out. So based upon what's happening during the pandemic, global pandemic or whatever and stuff like that, those are the things that was making universal. That's what the shadow government was thinking about on their mind. That was what the UN, the United Nations, was thinking about in their mind, to put everyone in the same template for the most part. So from them putting everybody in that same template or mind frame, right, based upon social distancing, oh, it made motherfuckers want to be inside instead of being outside. And then that was the witchcraft. Witchcraft is just bitchcraft. A witch is just a female sorceress. So from a female being a female sorceress, is just them being a source for some feminine energy and stuff like that. That's like internalizing. That's like an emotion and feeling, right? Women are just walking attraction, walking emotions and feelings. And then men are like walking frequencies, walking attention span. So they have that attention span. They have the awareness. They have their intent. They're concentrating on something. And then based upon what they're concentrating on, they end up attracting different energy. So it's like a mechanism. So the men, the woman, you know what I'm saying? So in general, right? And then women have a womb. So it's them absorbing or receiving and containing something just in general. So the containment is the attraction. Oh, okay. Them trying to contain what they're paying attention to. So they have to do something attractive to make people be absorbed and give a fuck about it in the first place and stuff like that. That's why men, they care about getting more awareness and attention span. They don't really give a fuck about if a motherfucker is basically into what they into or not. They're going to keep on trying to create more. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to do something outside the box or outside the container so it can be fulfilled. And then women, they like to drain it out and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They like to contain it, maintain it, support what's ever being fulfilled, and they end up draining it at some point, and then it being fulfilled again. So expansion, contraction, externalizing, internalizing, all that type of shit. So just in general, overall, those are the things they put y'all in. Those different programs and SOPs and stuff like that. So Gen Z going through periods of economic shifting, which makes them be financially cautious, highly pragmatic about work, vocal about mental health and personal wellness and all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could put all that in the box. Like, those are the different things they put out there to make motherfuckers give a fuck about that when it comes to that generation. And then right now, we a little bit after Gen Alpha. We in Pluto and Aquarius right now. But us being Pluto and Aquarius, and then Gen Alpha being Pluto and Capricorn, them caring about more Capricorn type of things. So cardinal Earth, them initiating, creating new ways to think and practicalize based upon the 10th house, status, career, public image, how they seen from people outside of their family and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? The associations and stuff like that, CEO type of mentality, and all that type of shit. It's just when it comes to Gen Z and stuff like that, that's the incubation witchcraft they put us in, and then that's it. But yeah, it's not me trying to go against like racial equality or social justice and stuff like that. It's just me explaining through different, you know what I'm saying? Like different ways of things being governed based upon politics, religion, government. I mean, politics, religion, education, entertainment, uh, business, culture. You know what I'm saying? Like different pockets of how they try to, you know what I'm saying, contain it to put motherfuckers in a magic square program witchcraft. You know what I'm saying? Incubation witchcraft, the way how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? So like some Matrix shit. Like you don't get out the incubation tank for the most part, but the minute you get out the incubation tank, you actually just see the world for like what it is itself, and the starting point of how they even got you in the fucking tank. You know what I'm saying? Like the witchcraft they actually put you in. So in general, right, is not to say motherfuckers during Gen Z, they aren't the walking representation of what that is, but at the same time, based upon astrology and the divination and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the divine nature they're getting you trapped into, the Pluto energy or whatever. But them playing out Pluto energy is just them being in plutocracy. The government being ruled by the wealthy class. It's just whatever some elite made up in their mind to keep on staying in that position when it comes to government, so they can keep on making money off y'all tax dollars and all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like so they can keep on control they can keep on control the economy, but we are the economy. We make that what it is and stuff like that. It's not no thing where it's like, oh, the economy crashed and we're going through a recession and stuff like that. No, they set it up like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's either they're going broke or they set it up in a way to make it so motherfuckers who not in their position or who aren't a part of the American wealth yuppie mind state and stuff like that. If you ain't a capitalist, if you ain't trying to capitalize the same way how they capitalize for them to be Americans and stuff like that, then you just gonna be, you know what I'm saying? But that's why it's important to be relative to you and your people to where y'all able to build yourselves up to where you don't need that. And then even if the government or America try to cripple you and stuff like that, y'all straight. Y'all already self-sufficient without that. So just in general, right? It's like them making y'all act out 21st century Protestant type of energy. Protestants are just the people who protested against Catholicism. Look at that, like when from a religious standpoint, look at that as the government, right? So whatever the government was doing back in the days, when it came to Catholicism or Europe during that time, they were just going against it because they didn't like it. So that's when they got on the boat, came to America and stuff like that, and it led to them doing Protestantism, them practicing that type of Abrahamic Abrahamic religion, Christianity or whatever, because it's a Christian denomination. Whatever, when it came to, you know what I'm saying, like whenever it comes to Protestantism and stuff like that, it's really just them explaining that, them protesting against whatever they was doing over in Europe, and them making their own denomination, them making their own branch away from that so they could live independently. But the overall branch is just Catholicism, something that's universal, the universal way of how they want y'all, of how they want to look like they God or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But their God is colonization. Their God is capitalism. Their God is that. You know what I'm saying? American culture, monoculture, making everything all built in together, but based upon the eye of providence. Oh, we want y'all to look at it this one way, but we got two eyes and stuff like that. So it's not no thing of everyone gonna look at it in that one way. You're gonna end up going to hell thinking like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like you self-serving and you being in some narc ego type of energy of you trying to control the world and you trying to have the all-seeing eyeball and you see everything going on and stuff like that. All you gonna do is just go straight to hell from you not knowing how to mind your business. And then that's it. Like, that's all that is. So just in general, when it comes to the revolutionaries, right? Or you trying to start a revolution or you trying to protest or whatever and stuff like that, that's just them practicing witchcraft on y'all to get y'all out of y'all seat, to get y'all out of body, to get y'all away from y'all people, to care about, you know what I'm saying? Like to care about the world and stuff like that. But they're crafting how they want the world to be and stuff like that. And if that wasn't the case, why y'all got a UN? Why y'all got a United Nations where all y'all united together and stuff like that? And then y'all trying to make world peace. But then it seemed like it's never like no world peace. It always seemed like y'all just want to have y'all peace. And then you're not going to include the common person unless they end up going up the same way how y'all went up. You know what I'm saying? I don't even got to break that down. You know what I'm saying? Like the only way is if you have to get a symbol. You have to go through some type of institution. You have to, you know what I'm saying, go to college or whatever. You have to be in their university. You have to get educated based upon the book smart way. You know what I'm saying? So that's like you being indoctrinated. You have to read their books. You have to read their doctrines and stuff like that. You can't make your own book. You can't talk about your own experiences. You have to just talk about what they experience to make the world what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just leads back to some type of nationalism, patriotism type of thing in general and stuff like that. And it's not me hating. I'm just explaining history. Like, no, that's actually what happened in reality. We see that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, in general, that's just all that is. So those are just different pockets of how they act out those different energies to practice that witchcraft on y'all, to get y'all out y'all body, to get y'all in y'all emotions and feelings, to fearmonger, to make y'all be absorbed into whatever program they didn't put out there so they can capitalize and commercialize it and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And make it like a, oh, we're gonna make this a part of history and stuff like that. But y'all don't try to understand the history. I mean, y'all ain't trying to understand the mystery behind the history. Y'all ain't trying to understand the mysticism before it actually becomes a thing in reality. Y'all ain't trying to understand the metaphysics before it becomes a part of reality. Y'all ain't trying to understand the what they call that? Y'all ain't trying to understand the subconscious realm. Y'all trying to understand things of the conscious realm, things that we already can see from the naked eye and stuff like that. Instead of trying to tackle the attention span and the thoughts and feelings and the mentality before it becomes something that people can look at as something that's a part of the world and stuff like that. And then that's it.